All right, so the NBA season wrapped up yesterday, and it's a polarizing season, I would say. Several topics um, that rub a lot of people the wrong way. One of them would be the 65 game rule. Now, this rule has been in place, what, 2, 3 years now? I need to look that up. But essentially, that rule basically is for players to be eligible for end of the year awards such as defensive player of the year, MVP, also all NBA teams, and all NBA defensive team. That's the threshold to be eligible for those honors, is 65 games. Now, that rule initially it was from a good place because obviously there was this problem that's been going on throughout the league for several years. The issue with load management, in which teams were resting star players, giving them breaks a lot, and of course that's not going to be good for business because that puts the NBA in a tough position when they're trying to sell their product to um, media entities and the fans who pay their hard-earned money to see their favorite players or teams perform. Because we all know NBA tickets right now are not cheap at all. So that's gonna like when you have players who are sitting out when they're healthy, just out there in street clothes on the bench. It's not a good look. It does kind of taint the products. So the league came up with this idea that they incentivize the players who want to be honored, all NBA teams, all NBA defensive teams, league MVP, um, defensive player of the year, and so forth. They put that rule in place, and I did say it came from a good place, but I'm not a fan of it only because like what we've seen transpire this season. Example: Cade Cunningham, who clearly, for the majority of the season, had a great case to be first team All NBA and even be a legit MVP candidate. He late in the season goes for a loose ball, dies, ends up getting a collapsed lung as a result, and that put him in position essentially to no longer be eligible for any of the end of the season awards or honors. So I hate that the fact that yes, the rule was implemented to incentivize star players to play, so they can get these rewards. Because a lot of these rewards, is particularly like the All NBA teams, there are financial incentives as well attached to those awards. So for Cade to be out, I mean, this guy was the catalyst on a Detroit Pistons team that ended up winning 60 games, best record in the East. A lot of people didn't see that coming to start the season, that they would be the number one team in the Eastern Conference, and here we are. And now they're not going to have their best player isn't going to be represented on any All NBA teams and isn't going to be on the ballot for MVP as well. So that's my issue with the award is that, with the rule, is that guys aren't going to get honored. Now I'm not a casual basketball fan like a lot of people are, so they don't necessarily care. I mean, like when we look back at history, if you look back at history and look at the All NBA teams for first, second, and third team, for the 2025-2026 season, and Cade Cunningham's name is nowhere to be found, it's going to raise a red flag to those who are consider themselves to be historians who know the game. We're like, wait a minute, wasn't that the year that Cade was like where the Pistons were number one in the Eastern Conference, and Cade averaged about like 24 points and I believe right close to like 10 assists and everything. So why isn't he anywhere to be found on this All NBA team? Like, you can't tell me that Cade Cunningham was not a top 15 player in the NBA this season. That is what he was. I mean, we almost got to the point where Nikola Jokic and Victor Wembanyama weren't going to be on All NBA teams late into the season because they had to like reach that benchmark late into the season to qualify. So that's my issue with the rule. I don't think it comes from a bad place. I think that we need to tweak it, or we can get rid of it altogether. But I think we should tweak it first. Um, so I thought of something that we can do is, okay, let's keep the 65. Let's say we keep the 65 game rule, right? How about we have like different tiers of games, right? So, for example, 65 games, you would be eligible for, you know, um, All NBA first team and All NBA defensive first team. If you were to play at least 60 games, you could be eligible for All NBA second team and All NBA second defensive team. And 55 games, you can make All NBA third team. There is no All NBA third team for defense. So I think we can have tiers because yes, okay, if you're not going to play 65 games, everybody who's not like reaching that benchmark isn't necessarily low to minutes. And you guys are really out there, and they did really sustain an injury, like K did, or even like Luca. I know that Luca and Kate are going to appeal. Even though I don't think K is going to win, Luca has a great chance because he can reference the portion of the season where he took a couple of games off due to the birth of his child. So I do think that he is going to get that exception rather, based on the bylaws. But Cade, I think it's going to stick, and it's just not fair to me. So let's do tiers, right? 65 game threshold, 55, wait, 65 game threshold, 60 game threshold, 55 game threshold. That would be fine with me. That's what I think that they should do. I don't think that we need a threshold for league MVP because the voters have been doing this for years. They're not going to vote somebody. A lot of them aren't going to pick somebody who was out for like 20 games in the season. For example, if Nikola Jokic and Victor Wembanyama played, let's say this season that they both were top two, their teams respectively were top two in the conference, and Nikola Jokic played about 20 more games than Victor Wembanyama, voters have common sense. They're going to pick Nikola Jokic because availability is the best availability, right? So there's no need to force the voters to not put the guy on the ballot. Like they're going to make the right decision. They've been doing this for years. That's come in play several times throughout the history of the MVP voting process, where the voters kind of like knock somebody down a couple tiers just because they didn't play enough games, as opposed to somebody else who was available for most of the season and they put in the work. So we don't necessarily need these the 65 game rule to be required for MVP. The voters can figure it out themselves. That's what I would change. I don't think they're going to change because Adam Silver did say recently he thinks that it's working. And there was a press conference, I believe it was last week, where Adam Silver said that he thinks that it's working. Guys are playing, and they are playing. And I can empathize with fans who go pay these premium prices for these games, and their favorite player isn't available, not because he is injured, but because he's just resting, taking a day off. Second night of a back to back, they don't want to put a lot of miles on his body, the team. Because a lot of people get mad at the players for sitting out, but a lot of times this is the team's decision as well. They have doctors on the team, and guys who do all this data and everything and do the math and see that this isn't going to work in terms of them playing to take this game off to rest, and it's unfortunate, but that's just the reality of today's NBA with the analytics and everything thriving and in the sport. So yeah, I just think that the 65 game rule came from a good place, but again, just got to tweak it. I don't want to say you have to necessarily get rid of it, like a lot of people are advocating for. But I would say definitely you have to change something, because it's just not fair that like a guy like Cade Cunningham is not going to be on any of these All NBA teams. It's just whack. So I do think for first team All NBA, it looks like to me what my team would be based on. And then I'm going to preface this by saying I do think that I do think that Luca will be eligible, because I do think he's going to win his appeal. So if I had a vote, this is what my All NBA team would look like. One, SGA, Luka Doncic, Jaylen Brown, Victor Wembanyama, and Nikola Jokic. I think that those are going to be I think that that's going to be all NBA first team. And if I voted, I would go the same way again because I think that Luka is going to be eligible. Where I don't believe Cade is going to get that exception based on the circumstances and the language within the rule. Whew. Oh yeah, and of course, tanking was a hot topic as well throughout the season, and we've seen a lot of these. It was just there was a stat I seen earlier today. Let me see if I can find it on my phone. Where this was like the first time in history that several teams finished with 55 plus losses. Oh, the first time in history that 8 teams finished with 55 losses. That would be the Pelicans, Mavs, Grizzlies, Kings, Jazz, Nets, Pacers, and the Wizards. Man, yeah, it's been a tough watch for NBA fans, and I know a lot of NBA fans are just thankful that the playoffs are right around the corner because we're going to see basketball at the highest level being played throughout throughout June and everything from now to June essentially. But yeah, it was a really tough season. I know, and yes, tanking's been around forever. It's been going on for a long time. I don't know why people are treating it like it's like a new thing. I'm guessing just because it's just been so flagrant this year that's why people are reacting to the way that they are. But again, like I talked about this on the pod before, where I remember when I was listening to the pod with Chris Minnis and Rachel Nichols, and Rachel Nichols was simply stating that these teams, a lot of these teams like a Utah or Wizards, they don't have any other route to take but to get better, other than tanking to put themselves in a position to get a high draft pick to build the roster because that's not a hot destination for free agents and everything. It's lukewarm rather. So what do? They have to build through the draft, and the only way you can build through the draft is to be bad enough to get a high draft pick. So I don't know. I don't know the solution. I don't think that we can necessarily stop tanking. It's going on forever. Maybe you could do like the NFL. Don't even have a draft lottery. Just have a draft. Worst team, first pick, then so forth and so forth. That's a route you can take. But I don't think that all these like ways that Adam Silver was proposing and how to resolve tanking. I just think that it's just overreaction. This is a anomaly year, I think, in the sense that a lot of people are expecting this upcoming draft to be to rival 2003, headlined by LeBron, Wade, Melo, and Bosch. A lot of people are thinking that this is going to be the best draft since then. So of course that's the case. When with the draft so deep, with talent, what do you expect is going to happen? A lot of teams are going to try to put themselves in the best position to get a high draft pick. Yeah, I mean, there's just teams just trying to work around these rules and everything. This is the reality. So I mean, I know it sucks though. It's a bad product to watch. We see the reaction from fans on social media and everything. But I mean, I don't know what they can do to, like I mentioned, to fix that problem. But yeah, I mean, this is what it is, and we're possibly going to get an expansion in a couple of years with Seattle and Las Vegas arriving. And that's just going to this probably isn't going to be an issue that's going to go away anytime soon. Maybe these teams are just going to be that bad when we're going to expand the league, which is going to essentially dilute the rest of the league and everything because the talent's going to be spread out. And a lot of people are high on this in this era of basketball, saying that this is the most skilled era ever. It was make a great case that it is, considering that the game just evolves over the year, and so it that's kind of to be expected with the evolution of basketball and how it's played. So yeah, but yeah, I mean, so we could be in for it. Like, if you're gonna complain now, you might be complaining for like the next several years because I don't care what Adam Silver says and what they're trying to do. You cannot really. I think it's kind of hard to police this tanking or police tanking. Like, maybe a team's just really that bad. What's in reality is the case. A lot of teams are young. They don't have the veterans that they can lean on and everything, and just don't have the talent to rival those who are the on the upper echelon teams. So it is what it is, man. I don't know. All right. So MVP has been a lot of discourse over this throughout the season. Definitely heated up the last like 8 6 8 weeks rather. I would say it heated up, and this has been an incredible MVP race, one of the best I can recall in recent years. Certainly, um, you can make a great case for it. I think first four players you can make a great case for. I'd say that'd be Luka Doncic, Victor Wembanyama, Nikola Jokic, SGA. I think those guys have all great cases to be the league MVP, but of course there can only be one, right? So if I had a vote, I'm voting for Shea Gilgis Alexander to repeat and join an exclusive club of guys who have done that in NBA history. Who will join the likes of Braun, Steph, Mike, just to name a few, Nikola Jokic, just guys who have repeated as league MVP. I think SGA season hasn't really been appreciated to well, and then I think and overall he's not appreciated as he should be. Although, of course, a lot of that has to do with the discourse online, him being a quote unquote free throw merchant, foul baiter, all these like clickbait type words that people phrases that people throw out there on the net, and people just run with it and try to like discredit the man's game. It's ridiculous. Um, I think that he should be the league MVP. He would be number one on my ballot. Tim Bontemps on his latest MVP straw poll, the last one of the season, I believe he had 88 first place votes. So I do think there's a strong chance that that is going to be a good reflection of the actual voting when the award gets when the winner gets announced that SGA is going to win and relatively convincingly. Definitely not going to be an unanimous like 10 years ago Steph was. But the man has just had another season of averaging 30 points and shooting 55% from the field. That's for a guard is insane. Like I don't think a lot of people can really like comprehend this how crazy that is that SGA, a guard in this league, shot 55% from the field. That's insane. Led OKC to the best record, not just in the West, but the entire league. His running mate, Jalen Williams, has been missed a good portion of the season. I think he missed like 40 plus around 40 plus games missed due to injury. And all OKC did was managed to stay afloat in the standings. Started out hot out the gate, 24-1, hit a rough patch, dealing with like the Spurs and everything, and injuries started taking a toll on the team. They had the second most games missed to injuries outside of I believe the Clippers this season. And then they were able to finish the season crazy strong. SGA making clutch bucket after clutch bucket. I mean, led the league in clutch points. An iconic Wilt Chamberlain record of the most 20 plus points scored consecutively rather. Shea did that. He is elite. He is, I think, I'm still on record saying that I think when it's all said and done, he is going to be in that class of the guards that we revere as a basketball community, that being Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Magic Johnson, Steph Curry. He will join those guys. He will be in that class. I'm not saying he's going to be better than any one of them. I'm just saying that he's going to be on that level. When it's all said and done, he's going to have the numbers, the accolade, and the game to back it up. He's a no-brainer for me for league MVP. Who I would have second definitely would be Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic is a guy who I think, well, first off, I would say if the award was really, really about value to your team, I think that he would really be the league MVP in the sense because there's no like rule on like what's taken into consideration when it comes to voting for league MVP. But this is how I interpret it, right? You want to look at a player's individual numbers, team success, game missed. Like if said player was unavailable for 2 weeks and the team, how would the team look like without them? And then obviously if that a second player, a, a sidekick was absent, kind of like with SGA had with J Dub this season. If they were out for an extensive period of time, what would the team look like? That's why I think this really gives SGA a great chance to win. The fact that his running mate missed so much time this season and they were still able to be the best team in the NBA. So I think that those are all they're all taken into consideration when voting for league MVP. But like I mentioned about Luka Doncic, I think his game, he is just a cerebral basketball player, one of the most gifted offensive players this game has ever seen, that I've ever seen with my own two eyes. And a lot of people just like to point at the fact that he was traded in the middle of the night for Anthony Davis and Max Christie and a pick to the Lakers, and then they went to Dallas and everything. And the fact that Nico's right, Nico's seeing the vision, just picking him apart on the defensive end, acting like he can't be in league MVP because he plays no defense. Well, I'm sorry. I've seen Steve Nash win 2 league MVPs. I've seen Dirk win a league MVP. I've seen Harden win a league MVP. I've seen Steph win league MVPs. None of those guys I mentioned, all respect to them, they are great players, Hall of Fame players for sure. But nobody's ever confused them with of being a first team All NBA defensive performer. It's never happened. So why are we putting that making that the standard when history has showed us that that's not the case, right? Of course, Luka's not a great defender. I think at various points this season, particularly prior to him going down with a hamstring injury, he did a great job by his standards of being more engaged on the defensive end. Yes, that was Luka Doncic, I thought, prior to him going out. And of course, he had that crazy month in March when he went on a scorcher throughout the league. Looked like Michael Jordan, with the boy, he was getting buckets out there in the month of March, and leading the league in scoring, third in assists. And my thing too is the fact that when he got hurt, the Lakers were the 3rd seed, and they probably would have held that had he not gone down last week against OKC. No one in their right mind saw that Lakers potentially being a 3rd seed. There were talks about them missing the playoff, being a playing team and missing the playoffs. Now, I didn't go that far. I thought they would be probably a 6th seed in the Western Conference, having to contend with the likes of OKC, Denver, Minnesota, San Antonio. I just thought that they didn't have enough to offset those teams. The fact that Pelinka hasn't gone to work at putting a team the right pieces around Luka Doncic. He hasn't done that yet. I don't know why. I know why, because they want to keep their cap flexibility. But let's be honest, I don't think they've really done a good job of putting a solid team around LeBron in the past 2, maybe 3 years. So you don't put the right pieces around Luka Doncic. Not enough 3-point shooting around him. The 3 best players are all liabilities on the defensive end. An excuse for LeBron, because at this point of his career, age 41, he has an excuse to be not a minus on the defensive end. But regardless, your 3 best players, Bron, Luka, Reeves, negative on the defensive side of the ball. No rim protection. And the Lakers are the 3rd seed in the Western, and they were the 3rd seed in the Western Conference prior to Luka going down, and now end up in the 4th seed. I think that just speaks volumes of what Luka Doncic was able to do night in and night out, and that's why he would be my number 2 pick. I know that's not popular. I think a lot of people will have them at best the 4th on their ballots of these voters, but that's me personally. I would have Luka Doncic at 2. 3rd would be Victor Wembanyama. Can't say that much about him. He is an alien, just a unicorn. If they're ever he is the definition of a basketball unicorn, being 7'4", being able to handle on the perimeter, shoot the three ball, and on the defensive side of the basketball, just alters like so many shots. Guard on the perimeter. Never seen anything like this. I just seen a tweet today from Kevin O'Connor of Yahoo Sports saying that he came out and said he voted for Victor Wembanyama and had SGA second. I'm not going to knock that. Again, I don't agree with it, but I'm not going to knock it because Victor is amazing. I just think the fact that he kind of only plays like 29 minutes a game. I think that you can kind of like ding him for that at this point because he is going to have a long runway to win several MVP awards. He's definitely going to be defensive player of the year this season, and I think I would be shocked actually if he's not unanimous. Because he probably would have won it last year if he didn't have the issues with the blood clots and everything. He should win be unanimous this year. So that's going to be so that was so I just think that the minutes really is why I would put him third. But he is crazy impactful. Again, he changes the game. Again, I think he's going to have a long runway to win league MVPs to come. And the Spurs are a great team too. I mean, we've seen like the fact that they only lost like 3 games since February, 3 or 4 games since February, and the fact that they still finished with the second best record in the NBA says a lot about OKC and just how dominant they were. Or I should say the second best record in the conference. I'm not sure if they had the second best record in the league. Detroit, that might be Detroit, but I can always look that up. And then, of course, at fourth, I would have Nikola Jokic as the fourth on my MVP ballot. And I know that's not a popular thing to say because he is like I'm not trying to be disrespectful in any way, but he definitely is an MVP darling to all these voters that love Nikola Jokic. And rightfully so. He is a great player. He is... He's going to be he's the first player ever in league history to lead the league in assists and rebounds in the same season. Has Denver as the third seed in the Western Conference. He's just amazing. Of course, he can do it all. Like he maybe can be. You can make an argument he really is the most valuable player in the league in terms of like how the responsibility he has on the offensive end and now how everything just rotates around Nikola Jokic and everything, how the offense just goes like through him and he's like the hub for the Denver Nuggets' offense. I said it like I was thinking to myself recently, I'm like, hey, you know what? If the Denver Nuggets are to win a league MVP, the NBA championship this season, you might have to say, because I'm going to assume if that was to happen, Nikola Jokic would be Finals MVP, and if that was to happen, you might have to put him top 10 of all time. That's not a disrespect to anybody who is in the current top 10 right now, but the fact that his resume is crazy. My thing is always that you have to have multiple championships to be considered top 10 of all time. And outside of championship, he just has 3 league MVP awards. I believe about several first team All NBA selections. Like the things that he does putting up like Wilt Chamberlain type stats on any given night is just insane. And the IQ, the passing ability, the post play, the ability to shoot the 3 ball, he's just something that we'd never seen before. And I really do think if they were to win the championship this season, that that we might have to make room for him being top 10 of all time. And I probably would have to just put him in my top 5 centers of all time. Because I've always said I think it's going to be hard for anybody to get in the top 5 because I have no particular order. Russell, Kareem, Wilt, Shaq, Hakeem. That's my 5. But if Nikola got another one, man, you probably would have to put him in there and make a tough decision on who to kick out. But yeah, so why I had him at 4 is just because I get it. Denver did they did well in that stretch that he was out, where he suffered the bone bruise in his knee. They performed well, and the fact that they are a 3 seed too as well. I do think that we have to start. We pick and choose when we want to. I want to say, yeah, I'll say that we fans, members of the media, those with votes for MVP, we tend to pick and choose when we want to like incorporate winning in making the case for somebody winning league MVP, right? A big problem I have is Russell Westbrook winning in what year was that? 2017 when he won league MVP, or 2018? No, 2017 he won league MVP. Yes, 2017. Yeah, I understand he averaged a triple-double, something that's never been done by Oscar Robertson, 30, 10, and 10. But at the same time, man, you're the 6th seed. I just thought that was going to set a bad precedent going forward. Because I remember when Kobe, the year he 06, when he averaged about 35 points a night, and a lot of people thought that he should have been league MVP, but Steve Nash won it when his team won about like 17, 18 more games. And that was a big reason why those people voted for Nash as opposed to Kobe, the fact that he won. Then fast forward, you give the award to Russ, and I get it. It's a record that stood the test of time, that nobody thought we would ever see something like that again, and we did. But then years again, Joker won it as a 6th seed. So I just think that we need to like be consistent, and that has to be taken into consideration. Winning games, right? They are a 3 seed. They did finish strong too, but I think that these guys that had ahead of him are deserve to be ahead of him, and that being SGA, Luka, and Wemby. I know a lot of people are going to flame me for this, but that's just my belief. I think that those guys should be ahead of him. But again, like I said, I think Joker's great. He possibly can win the championship with this season. And I do think that if they do, he probably will be a top 10 player of all time and a top 5 center of all time. Okay, so we have some play-in games that are taking place. The Clippers are matched up against I believe they are matched up against the Warriors. Yes, they are. And that is going to take a play. I see a lot of people complaining about this. The fact that we have all these games on, looks like Amazon Prime has the right to all these playing games. And I think the first game is the first playoff game on Saturday, or 3 out of the first 4 games are going to be on Amazon Prime. That's another issue that the league has on its hands as well, too. Signing these media rights with various entities such as ESPN Disney, Amazon, and NBC. It's just making it's not really as accessible as it was prior to the season. The games, a lot of people are complaining about about how hard it is for them to navigate to find the game that they can watch and everything. And as a league, you want to make your games as excessive as possible, all while maximizing profits. I understand that. But at the same time, you do want to be conscious of your fan base and making sure that they have the ability to watch these games. So the play-in this week, it should be interesting. Now we have a couple of matchups that are set up that we know that are going to take place. And a couple of those that I am looking forward to is going to be Minnesota and Denver. That's going to be a good matchup. It looked the way that they were. This is a team that that's giving over the years giving him some problems. Being the Timberwolves has given the Nuggets some problems. I believe it's the 3rd time they've met in 4 years. I know they beat them on their way to the championship back in 2023. Did the Nuggets, and then the following year They were eliminated in 7 games by Detroit, by the T Wolves, and now they are going to play again. This I do think the Denver should win that series. They do have, like, the Gobert factor that can kind of like a body to throw at Nikola Jokic to, like, you're not gonna stop a player of Jokic's caliber. The IQ's too crazy, skill level's insane, but you can try to like make it difficult for him and have him to be not as efficient and as he normally is. That's the only thing you can hope to do with Nikola Jokic. And I think that they have the personnel to possibly achieve that, being the Wolves. Yeah, so it could be. And again, I know Ant Man's been dealing with a knee issue all season. Hopefully, he's going to be back and ready to go and everything, and to put forth maximum effort. This is the team that has been to 2 consecutive conference finals, being the Wolves, and I think that they want to do it again a third time, and advance even further. So I'm sure Ant Man, if he's out there, is going to give it all. Hopefully, he's going to be at close to 100%. Because as a basketball fan, that's what you want to see. We want to see the best going at it while they're at their best. So that was going to be interesting to see. And in the Eastern Conference, we have the Hawks and the Knicks. A Hawks team that has been playing well. Coincidentally, that happened once Trae Young was gone. Once they moved off of Trae Young. This Hawks team is young and they are thriving, and this isn't the ideal matchup I think that the Knicks wanted to have in the first round. They have so many guys. They have guys that they can throw at Brunson, smaller player. I mean, they throw the likes of Dyson Daniels and Nickeil Alexander-Walker at him to try to wear him down. So that is going to be something to look at. I don't think that they win the series, but I think that they can take the Knicks to 6 games. So that is going to be, I think that's going to be a really good series to start off in the Eastern Conference. Oh yeah, I'm not looking forward to this. Hey, I know y'all know I'm a Lakers fan. I'm not looking forward to the first round matchup, particularly just because of the status of Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves. Both guys getting hurt late in the series. Late in the season rather, in OKC. Luka with the hamstring injury, Reeves with the oblique injury. LeBron James has looked phenomenal ever since they went down. Age ain't nothing but a number to him, apparently, because he's just still doing it at this high level. Age 41, it's just miraculous. But I don't know if they can realistically rely on 41-year-old LeBron James with that roster to beat a Houston Rockets team, albeit who have flaws. Don't have a real point guard all season after Van Fleet had an ACL injury in the offseason, and then Steven Adams went down. The big went down as well. So you got a flawed team that doesn't really know, don't have like an identity crisis when it comes down the stretch of close games and everything, being the Rockets. But you do have Kevin Durant, one of the greatest scorers the game's ever seen, and is still playing at a crazy high level to this day. So yeah, I just don't know if the Lakers have enough with a LeBron James, age 41, with the supporting players being Marcus Smart, DeAndre Ayton, Rui Hachimura, Luke Kennard. I don't know if that's going to be enough to beat the Rockets. That's why I'm not even too excited for that series. Me being biased because I'm a Lakers fan. Now, there is talk. I know Luka went to Europe to get some treatment to try to come back from that injury sooner rather than later, so he can come back possibly midway through the first round. I don't know. I don't know about Reeves' status and everything, and what's that going to look like. But yeah, that's just that's why I'm not looking forward to that series. Lakers do have home court advantage, so that's always a plus. But I just don't think that they can beat the Rockets with this current group of players that they have. If they do, man, that I'm hearing some things about Ime Udoka that from my reading and everything. I couldn't imagine they move on from him because I feel like he kind of has an out with not having a point guard all season, although they do have Reed Shepard and everything, but there's like no trust factor there with Ime and everything. So I don't know if the owner is going to give him some leeway for this disappointing season that they had, but they did make the playoffs. They did avoid the play in, but still, man, if they were to lose this series, that wouldn't be a good look, and I don't think that would bode well. That possibly rather may not bode well for his future, Ime's future in Houston. Before I get out of here, I did want to talk too about Giannis Antetokounmpo. Giannis. You know, this all could have been avoided had the Bucks moved off from Giannis when he made it clear to them he wanted to be in New York. He wanted to be a Knick. They could have did this last season, but nope. They trade Dame, stretch out his contract. They sign Miles Turner, make some other moves around the margins. Nothing major. Thinking that was going to appease Giannis. Team was a wreck while Giannis was playing. Giannis suffered several injuries, soft tissue injuries this season. They shut him down. He wants to play. Friction between both parties. It's just a big mess down there in Milwaukee. And last night, Doc Rivers and the Bucks agreed to part ways because Doc's not really a fan of sticking around for a rebuild, so he's gone. This could have been avoided if they traded Giannis last season, but nope. They wanted to hold on to hope. And Giannis it's just not going good, man. Giannis did them a solid. He got them a championship. Their first since the days of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Oscar Robertson. Got them a chip. Brought that chip back to Milwaukee. Giannis has played with 110% effort night in, night out in a Bucks uniform, giving it his all. Him electing to move on and continue his basketball journey elsewhere fans in Milwaukee shouldn't take it as a knock. It's just the team isn't good enough. They don't have any route to take to enhance the roster to put Giannis in a position to compete for several championships. It doesn't exist in Milwaukee. They just got rid of all of their assets when they traded for Drew Holiday. They got a championship, moved off from Drew, got Dame, and now they're essentially left with nothing they can do. All they can do now is try to put themselves in position to get a solid play in this draft. And again, a draft that's looking like it's going to be an all-timer. That's what a lot of people are labeling it to be potentially. So, yeah, man. And then now Giannis want to play, and now Giannis wants to play, and there's this frictions and everything. It's a big mess, man. I think Giannis should have left last season because now this is kind of like the situation with Kevin Garnett in Minnesota when he stayed loyal for so long, finally elected to move on, gets traded to Boston, wins a championship. But unlike that though, Giannis already got a championship, but KG rather had finally gotten his championship when he got traded to Boston and everything, and then the following season dealt with a knee injury and never was quite the same. Was still a good player, but wasn't the same KG. All the years of wear and tear just finally caught up to him with that injury. So yeah, I just don't think that Giannis's trade value will be anything crazy, seeing how he is. I think he's going to be 31 this year. Let me take a look right now as I'm getting that pulled up. I'm pretty sure, but if he's going to be 31, several soft tissue injuries. The guy whose game is based on athleticism. So he'll be 32 in December. We'll be honest. Guy's game is based on athleticism. Already a good amount of mileage on his body and everything. The right time to trade him. The peak was last season. I'm all saying that I'm still sure that you're going to get a good package a good return for Giannis Antetokounmpo because in a lot of people's eyes, he's still a top five player. I do think that he still is a top five player. I know a lot of people will look at the fact that he hasn't really been relative like in May and June in quite some time. Um, but the fact that he is like when right, he's like a 30 and 11 guy night in, night out. So I think that he is just still an elite player. I would say he's top five. So yeah, whenever you can get a top five player in the NBA, you can change the fortune of your franchise around like that. It's kind of a no brainer. You're gonna go and try to put the best package available, or put the best package together and see which you can and see if you can acquire him via trade. I just hope that this gets done. I swear this has to be done. What is it, July 1st? I think it's July 1st when free agency opens. It better not linger on a day past that. Like I am personally am tired of this Giannis saga. I wish it happened last season. He moved on last season, so we wouldn't have to hear about this throughout this NBA season. But here we are. Easily could have been avoided. I did see that Giannis doesn't want to play in the. He doesn't favor the West Coast. Looks like he wants to stay East. So that takes teams. If that's true, that takes teams like the Warriors and Lakers off the table. So maybe it's going to be the Knicks all along. I mean, they don't have the assets right now because they used all those picks that they had to land Mikal Bridges. So they're gonna have to like, get creative there, package up, so offer up some players, and try to and pair Giannis with Brunson down on Broadway, and that can be something as long as you build the right team around them and everything and get the right pieces. Don't know if that can be done in one off season, but who knows? Yeah, but I'm just kind of shocked that he didn't want to go there, east. I meant go west. I'm guessing Miami too would be an attractive destination for him. Great weather, no income tax. It is. I think that him and the Heat organization is like the perfect marriage. It's like a hand in glove fit in terms of Giannis, like being that guy that like embodies Heat culture, no nonsense, the mentality, the work ethic. I think that would be a great spot for him too. I just don't know if you are going to be if they can, you know, get the right supporting cast around him and within the next several years to like help him like get back to the finals and win another NBA championship. I don't know that if the Heat can do that. So that would be my only concern, and that could possibly be a concern for Giannis as well. But who knows? We shall see. But overall, I'm excited. I can't wait for these NBA playoffs. I will do a podcast reacting to the first couple of games or of next weekend. So that episode will be the next episode coming up, and also we'll have that newsletter, the latest edition of the newsletter for the Mr. Vincent podcast. That will be up on a Friday. So you guys be on the lookout for all of that.